Suffered enough. I have been tested. Hi, thank you so much for tuning in again to another episode from our series called Who's Next? Now, in this episode, we will be discussing the popular topic, defund or reform. Now, I know everyone has their ideologies on both ends, but let's see what these two gentlemen have to say on the matter. Thank you and stay tuned.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nasir. I'm an alumni of New Jersey City University.
My name is Lemuel Atkins, and I am a student at New Jersey City University.
And today we will be speaking about defunding the police or reforming the police.
In addition to that, we will be discussing as many solutions as we can to the concern of policing in our community.
All right. How you feeling today, bro?
Feeling good.
All right,
Let's get to it.
Into it. Question number 1. What do you think of when someone says defund the police?
So defund the police is a movement that caught traction after the murders of our brother George Floyd and sister Breonna Taylor. And essentially what the defund the police movement is proposing to do is divest funds from police departments all across this country and to allocate it to community initiatives, programs, and resources.
Right. To piggyback off of that, first and foremost, rest in paradise to our ancestors. Any loss is a tragic loss in my eyes. But when I think of defunding the police, as you said, pretty much just taking some of those funds that are invested into the police in surplus and reallocating those towards our social services. Just more resources, in my opinion, kind of creates more of a better community. Yeah.
How do you feel in regards to funds being reallocated from the police to education, healthcare, creating jobs, and community development?
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing. Ideally, that's what should be done. You would want these areas to thrive, so that way, with better education, we are now creating a more conscious community where we can be more aware on how to protect one another or to move accordingly or just in general. So when these things go towards these social services, I think they create a change within our community for the better. Yeah.
To piggyback off you, I concur with everything you said. Just to add, I think that allocating these funds to community initiatives, programs, and resources, I think gives community the necessary things it needs, and on top of that, I think it also serves as a remedy between, or can be a remedy between the disparities we see in black communities and white communities.
Like imagine they take some of these funds and create more like markets where kids can now get like fresh fruit and vegetables instead of these horrible candies at these corner stores or all the soda and stuff like that. Just ideally, that's what I think of. Question number 3. Our country is currently going through a civil unrest due to an accumulation of buried issues. What is your stance on how we can remedy these civil unrest?
As far as what occurred at the Capitol the other day, I think that African people should stay clear. I think that this is an issue between Trump supporters and their government, and I don't think that we have a stake or an interest in that at all.
Right. I 100% agree. However, if I do have to come up with any solution, would be to just provide more outlets for open communication. Same way how schools have your PTA meetings. Perhaps something like that where people can express their own opinions without having to storm a Capitol or people getting hurt and things like that. I think there was a more civil way or sensible way, in my opinion, to get that done. But as you mentioned before, I don't really think that that's our problem. So if anything, that would be the only thing I can give for that one.
Next question. How do you feel about the conversation about reforming the police?
I think it's bittersweet. I do think that it is possible to reform the police. However, I'm not too confident in the success rate of that. When I did some research back on an essay I wrote in I think my sophomore year, I found out that there's a lot of similarities between many police institutions and something known as runaway slave patrol, where basically an old school police force to catch runaway slaves. I see a lot of things kind of transferred into that, and I don't really want to have some of these connections. But if there's any way to do that, I would suggest to provide more analytical thinking or more better problem solving, or just a department maybe within the police to better prepare many officers to make better decisions in these tense situations. I think there's a lot of pressure within these situations, and perhaps more trained thinking could potentially help out.
As far as my feelings towards reforming the police, I actually don't engage in too many discussions of reform. I think reform is a quick fix, or if you will, a compromise. And I think a problem of that magnitude, I don't think a quick fix, a compromise, or reform, as we call it, will be a solution to police and our community.
Right. If anything, whenever some of these events go down, like with the Sandra Bland situation, I felt as though it was like I felt enraged for a little bit, and it kind of got like brushed under the rug, and like small solutions come out, but they're not really like effective. I think, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there some kind of I don't want to say law, but some kind of push for something, and they just named it after George Floyd or something like that. And it's
Same
just
thing
like
with Breonna Taylor, yeah.
right, like stuff like that. It's like almost a mockery, not really a solution in my opinion. It's like a dedication or something, and I'm not too satisfied with that as a young person today. So, but we move on. Question number 5. Imagine a world without a traditional police force. What does that look like to you?
I think a world without traditional policing would look like a police force that's friendly, a police force that's engaged in the community, a police force that polices not based on the color of one's skin. And that's a world that I would see without traditional policing.
For me, I see the people who run these blocks, who are part of these affiliations and all that. That's where I would challenge them to take it a step further and protect your hood or protect where you're from. That's where you become your own, and I don't want to say police, but your own, I'll say guidance or overseers, where you're protecting the community, not taking advantage, not capitalizing, but providing more opportunities for those in the community. So let's just say if there are chaperones watching the children at the parks to make sure the kids aren't fighting with each other, nor is anyone attacking the children, or some kind of service that helps the adults find jobs or better working opportunities within the community that are all self-sufficient and help the community grow. I just see, without the police, I see more community-based action where people are coming together and protecting themselves, fully capable of just being a community. One thing, when you say the word community, you hear unity. So I think of just coming together and just being that stable force together would be an ideal world without police.
And if I can add to that, I would say that history validates your point. Your point about community policing its own. 2 examples that I can think of right now are in the 1960s. You had Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, who armed themselves and patrolled the community. And you had the Deacons for Defense, where they, again, armed themselves and patrolled and defended their community from white violence and terrorist attacks
Right.
and stuff like that. So
Along with providing for the community, if I'm not mistaken,
Exactly.
Black Panthers were providing free meals or free breakfast for the young children. Just small stuff like that, even clothing drives or anything along those lines could provide so much help for the community. So without the police, I see community. All right. Do you believe it is possible to live in a community without police as they function today?
I would say yes. I think from our literally prior our discussion on what we were just speaking on, I just see a community stepping up on its behalf, protecting and defending one another.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Kind of piggybacking off of what you said, you and I both said. Yeah, just more community, more love, more. Like, it would be nice to, like, you know, you go outside and you actually know your neighbors. You know, not just like, you know, as them over there, but as like their name. You never know. Maybe one day your washing machine is down, your neighbor, his washing machine is up, or you know. You may need to borrow a cup of sugar. You know, you have to know whose house to go to get that sugar. So I would definitely say just more community, more unity. Yeah.
Do you believe it is necessary for police to be the first response to nonviolent disputes?
No. No. I think if there was a department that is good for just strictly neutralizing or negotiating or just problem solving in general, where they can kind of come in and ice the situation out, that would be ideal. Perhaps I would say allow the police to be maybe second or third string responders, only if there is violence or a necessary, I don't even want to use the word force, but a necessary force to kind of cool the situation down. If we can settle it through talking and open communication, I would encourage that first as an option versus police, personally.
I would agree with you. I don't think that it's necessary for police to be the first respondents to nonviolent disputes. I think that there are other professionals that are well capable of handling issues of nonviolent disputes, probably better than police officers can. So, yeah, in short, I don't think that police need to be a first response to nonviolent disputes.
Question number 8. Okay. What do you think Black people need most right now?
I think what Black people need right now, I think, is purpose, unity, and organization. I say that to say that with those three things, those are the three things that are prerequisites for the liberation and freedom of all oppressed people.
Personally, I would say they need some some history. We got some Black folk that don't know themselves. A nice walk through history would definitely clear some things up, and that kind of ties into my next thing: knowledge of self or self-love. Just because you don't know yourself, how can you love yourself? And how can you love anyone else? You know, like, you have to know how to know who you are, appreciate that, and, you know, then you'll be able to love your community or love other people that look like you or act like you, and etc. Definitely know that. And just overall, just respect. You know, I like Black people need respect. You know, like, we can't keep disrespecting one another. We can't be, you know, disrespecting those that look like us of the opposite sex. We can't. It just needs to be respect, not only for one another, but from other groups as well. Respect us to the point where you actually do your own research about us, as far as, like, you know, where we come from. Don't just think our timeline begins with slavery. It's more than that. Understand, you know, melanin. Understand our hair texture. Understand just different things, and not just, you know, take advantage and capitalize off the culture. You can't listen to trap music and not understand the trap. You know, that's just something you should probably get to do. Definitely respect. And I feel like I can go on and on with what else we need, but I think overall, just a sense of worth is my top thing. Once you know your worth, no one can take it away from you. So that's what I personally believe in.
Mm-hmm. Question 9: do you believe there is only one way to fix the issue?
In speaking in regards to defunding the police and reforming the police, no. I'm an open-minded person, so I personally think that there's always another way or another solution, even when it's hard to imagine of another solution or an alternative. I personally believe there's probably another way. What that is, I can't really tell you, but I do think there is another way.
In short, I would say no, that there's not only one way to fix the issue. And I will end it saying that El Malik Haj El Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X, he said by any means necessary.
Any means.
If a politician were in this room listening to this discussion, what would you want them to hear and understand about this conversation?
Understand that when saying defund the police, it's not a direct notion that abolish the police or they should no longer be existent in certain communities. However, understand it's just basically a plea to help out some of these social services, to put some of this money towards other things and kind of showing where these investments are going. I think it'll have a better role in the community if we advocate these funds towards other things, but like be able to understand the opposing opinion and also take a walk through some of these neighborhoods that you govern or look over. Not just speak about them if you've never been through some of these blocks. Really go in, get to know who lives there and understand, some of the hardships they deal with. Then you can properly oversee them or create laws or rules and regulations to protect. So that's personally my point on that.
If a politician were in this room listening to this discussion, I think I would just kind of speak to him and explain some of the daily realities that that we go through every day. And that's pretty much it. That's all I would do.
And that completes our discussion in regards to defunding the police and reforming the police. Do you have any closing statements you want to get through?
No. You?
Personally, I would say, towards my last point, just to be more open-minded. Don't be scared of an opposing opinion that's not your own. Just at least seek to understand, not seek to respond. I think a lot of people hear the term and automatically feel attacked or feel as though they're unprotected or some type of privilege is being taken away. I would say understand that it's not anything being taken away, rather being reallocated or reinvested in your community. And ideally, any community you live in, you would want to see thrive and flourish. So, putting some funds towards other places could definitely be a step into that. And that's just all my closing words. So, always a pleasure chatting with you, bro.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode from our series, Who's Next? I hope you enjoyed this hot topic that's been going on for a while now, and maybe even change your perspective. If you're interested in seeing more content, please subscribe to this channel and check out my Facebook and Instagram page, which will be linked down below. Thank you, and take care, guys. Bye.